Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about how the Sharks rebuild has hit that next level after the 2026 NHL Draft. But before we do that, if you've been enjoying the content lately and you want to follow along for more, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subs. I've got to say, after sitting with the draft for a day or two, I think I finally figured out why I love what Mike Grier did with his work at the draft and in the lead up. Yes, landing Stenberg was fantastic. Yes, the Verhoeff pick was incredible. And yes, trading up to get Ryan Lynn was another aggressive move that I absolutely loved. But I don't think any of these moves individually is the biggest story. I think the biggest story overall is what they did as a collective, because for the first time since this rebuild began, it finally feels balanced. So let me explain. When Macklin Celebrini arrived, the Sharks suddenly had that franchise center, the guy that you build around. They added that elite piece on top of Will Smith, and then came Misa and now Stenberg. Throw in the depth pieces like Musty and Chernyshov, and suddenly, one thing is obvious. The Sharks are not lacking skill. They're not lacking elite forwards. In fact, they may have the most exciting young forward group in the NHL. The problem was the other half of the rebuild. Whenever people talk about the Sharks prospect pool, there was always the same criticism. Where are the right shot defensemen? Who's playing defense for this team? You can't just build with forwards. And honestly, they're fair questions. If you want to become a Stanley Cup contender, you need waves of talent, not just up front. You need players who can move the puck, who can kill penalties, who can match up against the guys like Connor McDavid or defend Nathan McKinnon. You need the guys that can play 25 minutes a night in the playoffs. Those players are incredibly difficult to find, and in the last few weeks, we have seen just how incredibly expensive players like this are. Teams simply don't give away young defensemen, which means if you can't trade for them, you have to draft them, and I think this is exactly what Mike Grier has realised. Let's go back 12 months. What did the Sharks' right side actually look like? Well, there really wasn't much certainty at all. There wasn't any interesting names. There were projects and band-aids on problems that needed bigger solutions. Hell, we had Klingberg playing for us. There were question marks, but there wasn't a clear pipeline. And fast forward to today, and suddenly that picture looks completely different. Kesselring arrives through that fantastic trade and immediately gives the Sharks an NHL caliber right shot defenseman who can play some meaningful minutes right now. Then comes Keaton Verhoeff, and personally, I think this is a fantastic fit. Verhoeff gives the Sharks something they desperately need, and he has the tools to be a number one defenseman. A player who projects as someone capable of playing difficult defensive minutes and being able to play in all situations. We know Grier values size, and a lot of the Sharks' young forwards are on the smaller side, but looking at their defensive core, the size is evident. A future potential pairing of Verhoeff and Dickinson would be very difficult to play against, both being 6'4" and 6'3". They are trees that you just can't move. Then, Mike Grier wasn't finished. He trades up in the first round and grabs Ryan Lynn, a completely different player, dynamic, creative, and excellent puck mover. A guy that scouts were incredibly high on, and he has the talent to be elite. He captained his club, the Vancouver Giants, and made noteworthy history, recording his 100th career point in 100 games. Making him the fastest WHL defenseman under 18 to accomplish that feat since Niedermeyer in 1991. Now suddenly you're not drafting copies of the same player, you are building a complete defensive group. Different skill sets, different strengths, different roles, different sizes. Exactly what great organizations do. And that's before we even mention the players that are already in the system. Sam Dickinson continues to look like a future top 4 defenseman and is in for a big season this season upcoming. Luca Cagnoni, he has exceeded expectations so far with his offensive ability in the Barracuda and has every chance to break into the NHL this season. Mukhamadullin continues to develop and has that size and grit that makes him hard to play against. Polkamp, he remains an intriguing right shot option, and after an incredible season for Denver, he likely has a chance to play some NHL time this upcoming season. And when you step back and you look at the entire picture, it suddenly feels like every position has legitimate depth, and that's a huge change from where this rebuild started. Grier was aggressive, tactical, and took the guys he knew would be difference makers. He did this without reaching with any picks. He took tactical risk and again showed why it is important to stockpile assets and draft players that are valuable. He turned assets like the Colorado pick from the Blackwood trade, the Edmonton pick from the Warman trade, and the 9th pick from the Eklund trade into tangible pieces that will begin to help the Sharks take the next step. It was a masterclass in asset management and striking while the opportunity was right there in front of him. And maybe that's my biggest takeaway from this entire draft. I don't think Mike Grier was trying to win headlines. I think he was just trying to remove the biggest weakness from the rebuild. Not overnight, not for next season, but for the next decade. Because championship teams aren't built around one superstar player. They're built around complete organizations. Great centers, great wingers, great goaltenders, and a blue line that can handle playoff hockey. And for the first time, I genuinely think the Sharks are beginning to build all four, and this is scary to watch. If managed correctly, this team could be formidable. Is Grier building a true dynasty? Now, that does not mean the Sharks are Stanley Cup contenders right now. Absolutely not. There is a long way to go. These prospects need time to develop. Some won't reach their ceilings. That's the reality. That's just how hockey works. Some might even be used in trades to acquire bigger pieces at the right time. Grier has added immense talent and value to the organization that could be used on the ice or via trade in the future. If you compare where the organization was 12 months ago to today, well, I think Mike Grier has taken a huge step forwards towards building one of the deepest young cores in the NHL. And honestly, that is a very exciting place to be as a Sharks fan. So what are your thoughts? Has Mike Grier finally balanced this rebuild? Or do you think there's some other major pieces still missing? Let me know in the comments. But before I wrap up, I just wanted to let you know that YouTube memberships are now live on this channel. If you've been enjoying the videos and you'd like to support what I'm building here, well, memberships are available for just a couple of bucks. It's completely optional, but it'll help me keep making these videos in the future. And as a small thank you, I'll be able to shout you out at the end of videos in the future. No pressure. I just appreciate you watching the videos and liking and commenting. It helps me more than you realize. Thanks again for all your support, and I'll see you in the next one.